Hello, everyone. Happy Mother's Day. And happy Fatima Day as well. Fatima Day was yesterday, which is most fitting to be right before Mother's Day, considering that our Blessed Mother is also our real mother, our spiritual mother. So today I'll be talking about, it'll also include just the importance of Mary, but this will be a video about how one excels in the spiritual life, how one breaks free, most particularly from mortal sin, but to eliminate as many sins as possible. And this is just from my own life, what I've done and what works. I've tried everything, and eventually I found something that works. So to spare you all those methods that didn't work, I'll just explain this one briefly as I can. So the first place I'll start at is if you just look at my outfit, you notice I'm still wearing a suit. It's about 2:30 in the afternoon. I got home from Mass this morning, but that's one of the things right there. Just always recognizing that you are in the presence of God and in the company of angels. So if you just see my apartment, it's surrounded. I'm surrounded by icons, by reminders of the spiritual world. If someone walks into my apartment, they get very uncomfortable because they're not used to it. It's like walking into church, the house of God, like for someone who's been away for a long time. It suddenly it forces them to reflect. It forces them to discover their own sinfulness, their own corruption, and that's we don't want to get too far off track here, but briefly, there's if you just look at modern culture, how there's just a constant noise. You go grocery shopping, there's noise. You are waiting for your gas tank to fill up. You have 80s music playing in the background. So all of this noise defeats meditation, contemplativeness. One cannot reflect and ponder upon the heavenly realities, or even just more so, the realities in this life of our own sinfulness, our own guilt. People don't like to do that. It's uncomfortable. People don't like boredom because it does that. It forces them to be with God, to recognize they are always with God. So yeah, that's one of the things you see reflected in my own life. Just the apartment, the atmosphere. It's really important. Really important what you surround yourself with. And I think most people would agree that what you wear affects you. If you're pretend I came home from Mass this morning. I put on sweatpants, a basketball jersey, and then I laid on the couch and opened up a bag of chips and turned on the TV. Thankfully, I don't have chips in this home, nor a TV. I do have a couch. But if I did that, my inner bearing would be one of laziness, of sloth. I wouldn't accomplish anything that day. Not only that, there is some use in having like downtime and being having leisure time, but doing that in that way really just it opens up the door to temptation. It opens up the door to like I can't even say the word, sensuality. Seneuality. I could barely spell it. I can't say it, but just love of the flesh, really, and of pleasure. Just those two things is what it is. But yeah, when you keep on a suit, the opposite happens. It forces you to sit up straight. It puts you in the mood to get things done. It reminds you of your own dignity, the dignity of being a man. It sets a good example for others too. You'll notice people act differently when you wear a suit. You're in the fast food drive-through line and somebody says for the first time, "Thank you, sir." It really feels good. But yeah, like once you go out in public in a suit a couple times, like just the reaction from other people, just their newfound respect for you, they treat you differently, and you come to enjoy that. But more so, wearing a suit is not for other people, though it does set an example for them. And just by them showing their own kindness, it reforms themselves in kindness, and that's really the beauty of manners, just how a civilized society has this cohesion. But anyhow, the most important thing is, of course, working on yourself, getting the plank out of your own eye first. So, staying dressed, you don't have to wear a suit all the time, but maybe just wearing khakis instead of sweatpants, wearing a button-up shirt instead of just like a t-shirt or something, or anything along those lines. It will help. It will help. It will affect your bearing. That's one of the most important things. Just remaining uptight as a man with dignity. So, there's some other things here. Let me think about them. I never think about what I'm going to say before I make a video. I don't edit these out or anything, so we'll get to some other methods here. We'll take a brief break as I think about them. So, I think another important thing is just when you having a routine, when you wake up in the morning, immediately fall to the ground on your knees. I kiss the floor, that's optional, but just waking up ready to seize the day. Then you do the sign of the cross, and then you say your morning prayers. And I'm not going to tell you which prayers to say. You can choose those yourself, but choose a couple of basic ones, just like an Our Father or something, and a few Hail Marys, Glory Be, things like that. Things that you know and that you can say, things that you don't have to make up. That helps having a routine, because if you woke up every morning trying to just think of prayers, trying to come up with your prayers from the heart, perhaps some mornings your heart gets sleepy, so you wouldn't be able to think of those, and then you would neglect them, you wouldn't do them. So just having those prayers, sticking to them, and not doing more than you set out to do, as St. Francis de Sales said, that can lead to tiring you. Like if you were planning to say 3 Our Fathers, but then you got like just this, not really a want, but a desire to prove yourself almost in prayer, like in a prideful way, to do more than you have to do more than God requires of you, just trying to keep on upping the prayers, the amount of prayers is what I'm getting at. So like someone might plan to say 100 Our Fathers every single morning. Well, that won't last 10 mornings. They won't do that for more than 10 mornings. But if they just plan to say 2 Our Fathers every morning, they can do that for 200 years. And I really got to stop wobbling my camera there. You might think there's an earthquake happening, but anyhow. So you have the morning prayers, then the evening prayers, of course. The evening prayers kind of calms you down, just like as Compline does for the monks, people in religious life, or all the priests. It gets you ready to experience the peace of God while you sleep. So you pray for things like protection, and you just have a gratitude for the day. In the morning, you have to not only have a resolve to live the day in a holy way, but to also be grateful for whatever comes, and to embrace everything as coming from the will of God. So that should be incorporated in your prayers as much as possible. It's always good to pray on your way to work instead of turning on music or podcasts. Just either sit in silence or pray the entire way to work. So when you come home from work, we're getting a little bit into the area that not many people enter into. They only pray in the morning or at night. They usually forget the rest of the day. So this is my solution to that, because the times you sin are during the rest of the day. You don't wake up in the morning and just immediately enter into sin, or when you're falling asleep in your bed, you don't enter into sin. But just those times during the day, that's when you get tired. That's when you get overwhelmed by all the concerns of the day, all the worries of the day, and you become exhausted. So if you just look at like a battery, you can charge it in the morning, but if it's going dead by noon, it will be a dead battery. So you must constantly recharge that battery. So here we are. We have, firstly, when you get home from work, luckily I only work part-time as of right now, and I get home from work at about 1 o'clock every day. So what I do is I eat lunch. I eat lunch first, but then as soon as I get done with lunch, I immediately go to my prayer corner, and then I say 1 Our Father and 3 Hail Marys. That was more than 3. 3 Hail Marys. So yes, just doing that, it isn't a lot, but it has a powerful effect. And so I do it again before I eat supper at about 6 o'clock every day. Whatever comes first, before I eat supper, or if 6 o'clock rolls around, or say I get home late one day at 2 o'clock. Well, I passed up 1:30, so I have to go and pray before I eat. So just have those 2 times, one or whenever you get home from work and after you eat food. I forget people have different schedules, so just do that, and then it may be possible, it's like during your work break, to incorporate just that 1 Our Father, 3 Hail Marys. Just do that during your break, because that's a lot of time you're at work, 8-9 hours a day, and you have to constantly recharge the battery. Remember that. It really doesn't last long, the battery, the spiritual life, if you really want to grow in holiness. So yes, before supper, do it again. And so it sounds easy to all of you who haven't done this. Just 1 Our Father, 3 Hail Marys. Nothing more than that, nothing less. It sounds very easy, and it's very easy for me to even recommend that, but it is very hard to do that just every single day, never skipping a day. And you also have your morning prayer and nightly prayer as well. There will be times when you're tired, when you want to come, I always want to work on the website or do something online. So I'm like, as soon as I get done eating, I'm ready to work. But I just have to remind myself I need to go to prayer first. Everything must start in prayer. So yes, you'll have tons of tension, but never break that rule. Always stick to it. And as soon as you do it, you'll feel a certain peace. You'll feel recalibrated. You'll feel like recharged. And then that's just the importance of that, turning to God constantly throughout the day. Just doing those set prayer times. I wouldn't really try to do more than that. Maybe if you grow really advanced in the spiritual life, try to do more than that. But stick to this for now. Stick to this. But throughout the day, you can also do just the short phrases. Jesus, I love you. Jesus, the camera's not going to focus here. Jesus, I trust in you. Or my favorite, I'll just be saying this throughout the day, just Lord have mercy, Christ have mercy. Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me, a sinner. Anything along those lines. Like, even when I'm just walking through the supermarket, those lines will just be going off in my head, almost subconsciously. That's kind of just praying without ceasing. That helps as well, but that's the important thing, is just saying those, that having that routine. That's the important thing. Anything other than that's an extra grace. So now we'll start to get more into the details about how you continue to fight sin besides those areas of routine and things. The first piece of advice I would give to anyone is whenever you are tempted. Now this is where it gets really difficult. You thought the previous thing was hard, the routine was hard, but this is even harder. But it's ultimately beneficial, and it will train your will and your resolve to not sin. It'll make you tired so that your body doesn't want to sin, like just adding this friction. So what I'll do is whenever just anything unholy pops my head, anything like just a bad thought about my neighbor, anger even like at work or just throughout the day, anything, I immediately just say, so there's two different options here. If it was conscious, if you brought a bad thought up in your head purposefully, so if you do this, you must say one Our Father and three Hail Marys. So there's been days where I've done this 30 times throughout the day, and that will really tire you out. Like as soon as you say it, it immediately turns you back to God, and you almost don't want to think of anything bad again. Like you're just adding that friction. That friction will, you'll build a certain control over the flesh, and that's ultimately the point of life. Really, is making the soul the king of the flesh. So this is how you do it, just having discipline. But if it's unconscious, like if just a bad memory pops in your head or something someone said, it just echoes in your head, and it wasn't conscious, you can just say the "Oh my Jesus" prayer. Oh my Jesus, forgive us our sins, save us from the fires of hell, lead all souls to heaven, especially those in most need of thy mercy. Just say that prayer, that really short prayer. But doing that, it almost wipes away even those small drops of sin that still remain. And this is very more easily said than done. It is a very arduous process, very hard to do, but if you want to eliminate sin in your life, it's a really simple method, so try it. Or try something along the lines of it. You can kind of add your own twists and turns, but stick to the principles of routine and just turning to God throughout the day at all times. This video is probably already too long, but I might as well keep going. People who are watching it are probably getting something out of it rather than the people who've clicked off a minute in, so I'll keep doing it a little longer. What are some other things? Yeah, I'm not sure if I have any more beneficial things to add. Well, there's a few other things, just discipline-wise, that will really help. Just maintaining, like, just your dignity, maintaining a posture. When you eat correctly. Just those small things, like this is really just like reforming all of your behaviors. Instead of like just sitting on the couch and eating your supper, make yourself sit at the table every single meal. Not kind of fell here, like don't eat snacks when I'm sitting at my computer desk, but just eliminate snacking throughout the day. Or just things along those lines. Just having this discipline in your life, this constant discipline, constantly reminding yourself that you're in the presence of God and acting in accord with that. And that is how you stay aware of the presence of God, because all sin arises from losing the presence of God, forgetting that. If you can remember God, you'll never sin. St. Augustine said, a man will either give up prayer or he will give up sin. Did I say that right? I think. Yeah, you'll either stop praying, and or you'll pray and you'll stop sinning, and then you'll yeah, I'm not even gonna try to fix that. Yeah, you get the point. So anyhow, just at meal times, I also have a routine of sort. I just say the blessing, then I'll incorporate some of my own prayers. I'll save those for another video, but just inviting all the saints to join you at the meal. You don't have to invite everyone you know. You don't have to list them off, but say, all angels and saints, join me at this meal. And then ultimately saying, Father, bless this meal with thy presence. And then you can give off your petitions. Like I just give off 3 petitions that I constantly pray for. And I just send those up. I ask Jesus to assist me in my human frailties and to grant me grace. And then I also pray to the Holy Spirit to grant me peace of heart and to reform me in purity and sanctification. Just pretty much you're invoking every possible option there, and then as well as like your guardian angel, our Blessed Mother, our blessed stepfather, Saint Joseph, your patron saint. Just constantly making yourself present, making your own self present within the heavenly family, our heavenly family. And that is how you walk with God. That is how you walk with God throughout this life. So I think there's more I can do, especially to grow in holiness. Right now, I think I dedicate too much time of mine to my work. That can be an issue, just being distracted. So it would be good for me, and I'm encouraging everyone else to do this as well, to just devote 30 minutes to reading a day. That's a very contemplative activity. Read some spiritual books. And then maybe just like, even something as small as 5 minutes of silent prayer, say at 8 o'clock, every time 8 o'clock rolls around, just sit down, go to a room alone, and just sit there, 5 minutes of prayer. There's tons of things, just discipline and reminding yourself of the presence of God. Reminding yourself that you are a man, a child of God. You must act in accord with that dignity, and that is the dignity of the saints. Have a blessed week, everyone, and happy Mother's Day.